Brothers and sisters of Holy Cross, happy Easter! We have now finished the first part of this preparation for the Marian Consecration with that intense focus on renouncing the world. We're moving now into self-knowledge, which is something central, something pivotal to growing in the spiritual life. This is going to involve growing in humility, which doesn't mean thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. And the truth is, we don't see ourselves like we don't see the world as it really is. We don't see ourselves as we really are. I don't think we see ourselves as the Lord sees us. And so this week is going to be an invitation to better recognize who we are. And I'll put it in 3 ways. The first one is that God has made us good. When He made all of creation, He looked at it, He looked at all of humanity, and He said, "It is very good." You, my brothers and sisters, are good. You are loved by God. You were created from love, for love. Second, we know that we are fallen. We've stepped away from God. We have turned from Him. We have sinned. We have said no to Him at points in our life. And this wound, both of original sin and personal sin, runs deep. And it's something that we battle against, right? We have to invite the Lord's grace in because we have a tendency to turn away from Him, to want to rely upon ourselves, to not trust Him. So that's second, is our fallen nature. But third is that you and I, we have been redeemed in Jesus Christ. When we were baptized, we were brought into the life of Christ, the life of grace. And Christ came into the world not to condemn, but to save, to rescue. And so He has come to rescue you out of love for you. And when we battle against the world, it is only to reject what is not of God so that we might live more fully for Him, that we might abide in His love. The book speaks about this in 3 different ways on page 48. It speaks about, first, the call to holiness and belonging totally to God. Right? God has made us and He's called us to holiness. This is a lofty call, and that we ought to belong totally to Him. And making us, He's made us for Himself because our hearts are restless until they rest in Him. Second, we are weak. We are broken, we are wounded. We turn back on ourselves. We turn back from the Lord to ourselves. And we are in need of grace. We are in need of help. And that's the third thing is, we need help. That God comes to us to invite us to walk with Him, to be dependent on Him. Not to be independent, but dependent on Him. To be mature, yes, but to be dependent on Him. Aristotle has a quote that I've always loved that I think fits with this theme's week. He says, "The unreflected life is not worth living." That seems maybe harsh. I'll say it one more time. The unreflected life is not worth living. What I think he means by this, right? This is before Christ, before God had given grace through Christ. I think what Aristotle meant was, right, the man who goes one day after another, just trying to, get one success after another, or pick up from his failures, or going from one pleasure to the next, to the next, to the next, without thinking, why am I doing this? For what purpose is this whole life about? Where am I trying to go? They're not living the full life. They're not living as they ought to, in friendship and union with God. And so renouncing the world allows us to think and reflect more on ourselves and what God has done in our lives, so that we may look to the past and ask God, where were you throughout my life? In what ways did I turn against you? How are you still reaching out to me through those times? How have you defended me? How have you saved me? How have you shown me your mercy? How have you loved me? So that we may know the past better, to live more fully in the present, responding to what God is asking of us in our family life, in our work, in our community, at our parish, and our church, and that we may grow now so we may walk more and more fully with God in the future. Now, in seminary, our rector, this comes from a document, Pastora Dabu Vobis, in preparation for priesthood, but I think this applies really well to, in general, the spiritual life. A rector would say, you first have to know yourself so that you can master yourself, so that you can give yourself away. Because if you don't know yourself, how do you know your weaknesses, who you are? You're going to be insecure about yourself. You're not going to know the love of God, and that's not going to be the thing that's motivating you. You're going to be trying to earn love. Then, when you know yourself, know who you are, both beloved and as a sinner, dependent on God, you can start to grow in those ways that you're weak. Because sin does have a mastery over us if we don't fight against it and if we don't embrace the life of grace. And so we grow in self-mastery so that we can give ourselves away. Because if you're addicted to something, if you're enslaved to something of this world, how can you truly give your heart to someone, to some cause, to the church? And so this is the progression: self-knowledge to self-mastery to self-donation. That's what we're going to be working on this week. And so in all of the reflections, be asking for the grace of self-knowledge. We're now moving on a 1-week cycle instead of the 12 days of renouncing sin. It's 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. So every Sunday, we're going to be starting something new. And there's always a few pages to read as you go into the next week. Plus, there's a litany that's going to be offered, again, to be said at least the first day, if not throughout every day if you so choose. Then there's always a special prayer at the end of each week, so be on the lookout for that. And as we move into not so much this week, but the next week, we're really going to be stepping up in prayer. You're going to be invited to pray the rosary every day. It's not going to be required, but if you're able to, again, it's stepping up the intensity of this preparation and this prayer. And I'm so excited for you, brothers and sisters, and I look forward to hearing more of how this has been going. Again, feel free to put your thoughts, your experiences in the comments below. I love to see them and to read them. And we're journeying together through this. Know of my prayers for you. Please pray for me, and I'll see you next week. God bless you.